And we are live. Sorry about that. Had some technical issues as always. Thanks for joining, guys, tonight for the Boxing Life show, as always. And I see the numbers have gone down. Serves me right for taking so long. How are you guys tonight? Let me know in the chat. Who's all here? If anyone's willing to put in your questions in the chat, I'm happy to answer them tonight. And yeah, I think basically the agenda, I'm just going to be looking at the big card this weekend in Riyadh. Obviously just the four main fights and give you my thoughts. I'm just going to look at the records and also see what you guys think as well. I'd love to know who you think is going to win in each fight because I think there's some potential for, I guess, some upsets potentially. I don't know. You guys can tell me in the chat. I don't know what you think, but I'd love to hear. But for me, I don't know. There's one fight which my picks are all pretty straightforward. But I think if there is one, it's got to be probably the Norman versus Haney fight. I think I've seen that as the biggest 50-50 of the night, potentially. Unless some of you think otherwise, but those are the ones I think. And yeah, I guess we'll just get right into it. And like I said, guys, if you've got any questions or thoughts on the stream, feel free to put it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer your questions as we go on. And I guess we'll get into right into it. And if you guys are watching this weekend, obviously on DAZN, they've just launched this Ultimate Plan as well. And basically, you're going to be saving money on getting 12 pay-per-views per year. I think it does include this event this weekend, which is great. And if you guys are watching, you can use you can scan the QR code on screen, or I believe I put the link in the description or the pinned comment, and you guys can use that if you want to watch and help support the channel as well at the same time. It really helps out. And yeah, I guess we'll get on to the first fight. Give you my thoughts. Now, that is, of course, Sam Noakes versus Abdullah Mason. And I've been working on a Abdullah Mason breakdown. To be honest with you, I've been doing the edit today and I just wasn't happy. Like, I was rushing to try to get this video out and I just wasn't happy with it. And I wanted to put something out there which I guess, yeah, did him justice and did you guys in terms of justice in terms of taking something from the video itself. And yeah, it's a really exciting fight. I like this one. I think looking at both guys, they've not really fought anyone of note particularly. You know, obviously if you're based in the UK, you know Sam Noakes, you might know Ryan Welsh, and for Abdullah Mason, his last fight versus Jeremiah Nakathila, he was a former Shakur Stevenson opponent. And yeah, once again, Mason looked pretty good in that fight. I'm not going to lie. I really like the look of him. And you know, they've not had that serious step-up fight, like that step-up fight yet, which is interesting. And I think it comes down to, obviously, the other thing I know of this fight is obviously Mason is a southpaw, Noakes is orthodox stance, and it's an open stance fight. Now, I feel like Mason's, you know, reach is going to be a big factor in this fight. I was just actually watching some Sam Noakes fights before I came on this stream, just to kind of refresh my head around his style. And like, he is very entertaining. I'm not going to lie. I really like his style. I just feel like he kind of reaches with his jab a bit too much sometimes. And if you've watched any of Abdullah Mason's fights, that's something he looks to exploit from the orthodox fighter. He'll punish a lazy jab at any moment. And I can really see Mason catching Noakes with some nasty shots. I don't know what you guys think, but feel free to leave your thoughts in the chat. And I think it's a difficult one for Noakes because I feel he needs to really push the pace in this one. He needs to get up close with Mason. Mason, as much as he's comfortable in the pocket, we obviously saw with that fight where he got knocked down twice with the left hook. He kind of goes into that shoulder roll stance, and he sometimes can get caught with that left hook once he opens up. And the main reason why he gets caught is that he likes to throw that uppercut to the body and up top as well from the southpaw stance. So that's going to be a factor for Sam Noakes if they're both on the inside, and if he can time Mason throwing that uppercut to the body, solar plexus with the left hook, catch him before he lands. It's been proven that Mason can go down. So I feel Sam will be feeling pretty confident around maybe taking him out by throwing that left hook on the inside. And the other thing I like about Sam is he can change angles as well. He's not just this power puncher or some guy that's just going to stay flat-footed. He's going to give it a go. He's going to try and change angles as well. And that's the interesting part about Mason. He's got very underrated footwork as well. He can get out of range quickly. He can pivot. And that's why I really like Mason in this fight. I just feel he just has that edge in terms of sharpness. And I think the reach and the southpaw stance are going to play a big factor. And yeah, it could be a real tough one. I'm not going to lie. It could be a real tough one. And just on the right, if you guys got any questions, put it in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer it. And I just want to get, I did the polls on my community page, and these are what people are thinking for this fight. And this is probably what I was expecting, if I'm being honest. Mason by KO, 73%. And then followed by Mason by points, 16%. And then 7% vote for Noakes KO, and then points, and that was 912 votes. So just shows you, I think most people are expecting Mason to get the job done, but it could be a real tough one for all we know. And as we've seen, Mason's gone down, and I think Noakes has to take confidence that he can be hurt in this fight. It's a possibility. I just rate Mason so highly. I really do hope to get this breakdown up tomorrow, hopefully around lunchtime in the UK. If not, I might just hold off and potentially post it after the fights on Saturday. Might release it on the Sunday, but because this guy, I honestly think he is really is the real deal, Mason. And maybe Noakes might crack him, but I just don't see it. I just think Mason's on another level, and I think he's destined for great things in this sport. You guys might disagree with me on that one. Like I said, I like Noakes. I like his style. He's very entertaining, but I just think this style matchup is all wrong for him. And I can see Mason really seriously catching him out, especially when Noakes uses the jab. So it should be a good one. And just another reminder, guys, if those guys that are here, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat. It's very quiet tonight for some reason. And let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know. Next up, we've got another huge fight in the super flyweight division, unification. Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Fernando Martinez. Bam versus Puma. And this is actually the one I'm actually really looking forward to this fight. I think stylistically, let me just get the QR code out of the way for a sec, so you guys can see Martinez's record there, his last 5 fights. And you look at Bam's record, going into this, it really is extraordinary. Sonny Edwards, Strada, he obviously beat Rungvisai as well, Quadvas, I can never say his name, Quadvas, I think that's how you pronounce it. And obviously beat Cafu in his most recent fight, who I think was also a very underrated fighter. He didn't get the credit he got going into that fight. And, Bam, once again, delivered the knockout in that fight by just being consistent, staying in his face for the majority of that fight. And I think in this fight in particular, against Martinez, I think Martinez is made for Bam. I think Bam's footwork, the way he's able to change angles, I think the fact Bam's a southpaw as well, and I think he's really going to cause Martinez problems. And Martinez, I don't know if you guys have watched him. I'm going to maybe just get up some footage of his most recent fight versus Ioka. If you just give me 1 second. Let me just get it up, and I'll just show you guys. He's very wide open when he throws his hooks. And I think Bam is going to exploit that. This is the knockdown here, I believe. Just look how open he is. And I can just see Bam changing angle against him and taking advantage of it. And, even Ioka, he's not the most fleet-footed guy as much as I really rate him. And look what he did there, He just opens up so much with the hooks, Martinez. And I think Bam is going to absolutely destroy him if he does that. I really do. You can see Ioka was even able to time him. Really nice shot to get that knockdown. To be fair, with Martinez, he managed to get up pretty quickly from that shot. But he's a tough little guys. These RGs, the Argentinians, they're tough little guys, aren't they? And they'll keep coming forward. And, the thing with Ioka, he's got fantastic fundamentals and he's got brilliant timing, but he doesn't have the footwork of Bam. And that's where I just feel like Bam is going to just keep this guy turning, and he is going to go to the body. He's going to wait for the opportunities for Martinez to open up, and he's just going to destroy him, really. Unless Martinez is able to land one of these haymakers early and hurt Bam. Obviously, we saw with Estrada, he was able to put down Bam, but I just really don't see how Martinez does it, because Bam isn't going to just sit in the pocket in these positions. You watch the fight with Rungvisai. If you go back and watch that, Bam was just constantly turning, moving. You just never let him get set in his feet, and that's what you need to do against this guy. And I think the other thing with Martinez, he needs to be coming forward. He's not good going backwards. And Bam is very capable of pushing you backward in positions where it's just not a good position to be in. And I really think it could be a great fight. Potentially Bam decides to stand and trade. Considering Fernando's been trying to get in his head this week. Keep that in mind. Sinai, as you said, hands low. Yeah, it's a very dangerous game that he plays. However, it helps him generate the power at times. And when he lands, he's able to absolutely crack you and potentially take you out. But I just don't see it with Bam. And I think there's too many openings within Martinez's style, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments, in the chat. I'd love to know. And, we obviously look at Fernando's, last 5 fights. He fought I can never say his name. He's the Filipino guy, former world champion, Akinjas. Is that how you say it? Jerwin Akinjas? Can never pronounce these Filipino names. It's like, honestly, ridiculous. But he was a good fighter back then. I really rated him. And, those are 2 good wins, obviously back in 2022. And then, you look at the form of Bam, he fought, was it 3 times in 2023, and then fought twice, 2024, and then once this year already. And obviously, Fernando had those 2 back-to-back fights with Ioka. Obviously, I just showed you guys the footage there. Ioka was there to be hit as well. Ioka didn't help himself, but like I said, Ioka, maybe doesn't have the footwork like he used to do, and maybe that's an issue. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this fight. Who do you guys have? I'd love to know. And I've got the poll from my community, just under 2,000 votes. And as expected, many picking Bam for the knockout or Bam by points. Very few picking Martinez for this one. And as I just showed you with that footage, I just can't see how that's going to work against Bam, that strategy. And like I said, he's very open, throws wide. He needs to be planted in his feet, and he can only really fight coming forward, Martinez. It's entertaining as hell, but against a guy like Bam, he's going to absolutely kill him. And he's going to change angles. He's going to counterpunch him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the job done. I really wouldn't. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments, in the chat, sorry, what you guys think, or your thoughts on the card itself. I'd love to know. 3 unskippable commercials before the live, unsubbed. Oh, thanks, Saxon. I appreciate it, man. Well, I put that as like a background thing, man, because I was trying to get ready. But you know what, man? Like, good riddance. I'd rather you weren't here in the stream, if I'm being honest, if you're being that negative. Corey, man, I was impressed with Puma and Ioka 1, but the second fight, not so much. I think Bam TKO 8. Yeah, Corey, I think that's a good shout. I think he's proven he's very durable, Martinez. I think he can definitely take a punch. And I don't know if you were here for when I was showing just the second fight for Ioka. I was showing some of that footage just there, Corey. And, he was able to take some huge punches off Ioka. But like I said, I just think he's going to really struggle against the angles of Bam, the footwork, the pressure. And I just think Bam's on a completely other level. And I think Martinez, as much as he's tough and he can make it a tough fight for anyone, I just think he's made wrong for him. Yeah, the fight should be undisputed. Yeah, I agree, man. I think very good fight. Very good fight. And yeah, that's what the majority of people think, and it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. And I'm looking forward to it, though. I think it could be fiery encounter. Could turn into a good one. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, if you guys have any other thoughts on that, let me know in the chat. I'd happy to answer. And obviously we've got Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney as well. And this is the one where I've seen a lot of 50-50 calls in this, I guess. Even the bookies, depending where you go, many are, some are siding with Haney, some are siding with Norman. It's very, it's up in the air and who people are going with, isn't it? And it's one I think we're all looking forward to. Obviously, I did a film study on Brian Norman. I posted it on the page. I showed some clips, but I posted that film study on my Patreon about, I would say, back in May, I believe, or April. And this is before he'd fought Derek Kuvas and Sasaki. And, I think I kind of got him wrong. I thought he was more of a brawler, if I was being honest. I think he still is. But I think, from looking at his last 2 fights in particular, I think when he's fighting like a boxer puncher, he's using his jab a bit more, disguising it to set up the left hook. He can be deadly. And we obviously saw that in the Sasaki fight. He was very intelligent in that fight. He was using the jab to the body. He was drawing out attacks from Sasaki. And then obviously, he's shown he can be a very good counter puncher as well, Brian Norman. And I really liked the way Brian Norman's approached this fight, his mentality, his body language. I think he probably knows, obviously, Haney's fought at this level in terms of big time, big shows. This is Norman's first real big opportunity in terms of a big fighter, and I've just really liked the way he's carried himself. I think and he's also just a funny guy as well. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the interviews with him. I think he's just a great character. Obviously, people talking about that Southern charm, and he's just a really good character. I really like Brian Norman. But saying that, Haney, there's no denying, just in terms of who he's fought, the experience of guys. He's just on another level because of that, and because he's fought in these big time shows. Let's be honest, he does have that. You can't deny that experience that he has. And I know there's going to be a lot of debate around this fight because of that. And you just look at like Devin Haney. Obviously, the last fight versus Ramirez, he was kind of. Let's be honest. I think he was. Was he partly still feeling the scars versus Ryan Garcia? Potentially. I don't know what you guys think about that. Obviously, he was potentially as well wanting to make sure that fight happened next. That's another thing. He was really wanting to make sure that, he just got through that fight, so he got that big payday versus Ryan Garcia. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I think part of me just thinks he just wanted to get through that fight. And sorry, guys, I'll have a look at some of these questions in the chat and see what you guys are thinking before I get on to what you guys thought in the poll. Corey, I joined, unfortunately, but I've been a big fan of your channel for a long time. Man, I truly appreciate it. It means a lot. I'm trying to do a lot more lives. I'm thinking about going into next year, doing like a live once a week. I'm thinking maybe dedicating a day, like a Thursday night. It seems to be the best time for my schedule anyway. I don't know what you guys think about that. And the other thing I'm just going to do, guys, as well, sorry, I'm going to put a poll in, okay? Because I want to see what you guys think about who will win between Haney and Norman. If you guys could vote. I'm just interested to see who's here. If I just get it, sorry. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, if you guys vote in the poll, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, sorry, I'll get to these next questions. Sinai, I'm very curious about this fight for Haney. He looked pretty scared in the New York City fight, but maybe a switch is flipped for him to jump up and take this fight. Yeah, I think, let's be honest, he was always a bit too big for even super lightweight, 140 pounds. I always felt he was still drained at that weight. The issue for me about Haney coming up is more about, does he have that pop in his punches to keep someone like Brian Norman Jr. off? I don't think so personally. I think it's going to be more of him using his ring IQ, his jab, his footwork in this fight. But he is going to have to stand his ground because I think Norman is very good at closing the range at times. He explodes forward with that left hook and just to get on the inside. And the other thing about Norman, he's a very physical guy. He likes fighting you on the inside. And it also depends who's the ref this weekend. Is he going to allow them to fight in the pocket? We all know Haney isn't the biggest fan of fighting there. We do know that Brian Norman Jr. loves it there. Watch the fight with Santalan again. Amazing fight. But Norman Jr., he was built to fight in the trenches, that guy, I tell you that. And that's where I fear for Devin Haney in those positions. If he tries to, fight him there, I worry about him there. I really do. I think he could get cracked, especially with that left hook. Brian Norman's so good at throwing that short left hook on the inside. Real dangerous one. So now I need to learn more about Norman. I've heard he was mad at people downplaying his technique. Yeah, I think in his last two fights in particular, Sinai, I think he's looked very good. I think in particular, obviously the Sasaki fight, I thought he looked controlled, composed, used his jab really well. He counterpunched. He fought on the inside, and he was able to set up his combinations really well in that fight too. So if you get the chance before this weekend, I recommend checking out that fight. So he looked very good in my opinion. And Corey, Norman won me over in the Santillan fight. Santillan wasn't good for. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Santillan was a tough guy, southpaw as well. In terms of like, I guess my one criticism about Norman is that he kind of needs to be set in his feet to really generate the power, which is obviously understandable and expected, for someone of his style. But I'm not so sure about, like if he's having to cut off the ring and throw punches, I can see him getting countered pretty badly. If I'm being honest, from Haney. I think people forget Haney is an elite counter puncher. As much as maybe he doesn't have that massive power behind it, it's still respectful power. However, that could totally change in this fight. Maybe Norman will think this guy has got nothing and will just be able to walk through those punches. Because he's a strong dude. He truly is. And what does Broly say? Hello, personally, I see an upset from Norman in the 8th round. Yeah, I'll give you my prediction in a second, okay? But I could, like I said, I think Norman has the power to take out Haney in this fight, 100%. I truly believe that. It's how he gets him on the ropes and traps him in the corner in those positions to set up those power punches, because I feel just Haney's just going to keep moving. He's going to keep sticking the jab at him. And can he trap him? Can he put him in a position where Haney has to stand his ground in moments? That's where I'm unsure. Sinai, if Haney loses, then I'm really unsure what's next for him. He did get his belts looking a lot bigger than his opponents. Yeah, like I said, I think he was draining himself to get down to 135 and 140 pounds for sure. He looked very, I don't know if you guys ever saw that Kambosos weigh-in. Was it the second fight or the first fight? I can't remember which one it was, but obviously he was fighting at lightweight then, but man, the amount he had to drain himself to make the weight for that fight, he looked like a skeleton. Like you could see his eyes were sunken in, and he just looked horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And it just shows you like the weight cut he was doing. Whereas now he'll be a bit closer to his natural weight. He'll be a bit more, hydrated in terms of where he wants to be. And I've said this, I don't know if you guys saw my tactical overview. Sorry. This is something I kind of talked about. If you guys haven't checked, make sure to check it out after this, or before the fights this weekend, if you haven't done so already, to get my more like technical analysis on the fight, and including like the strengths and weaknesses and how they can both exploit each other this weekend. What's Corey saying? I think Norman stops Haney in the 9th. Yep. People are kind of saying that these kind of mid to late rounds. Lots of people are saying Norman's going to do it around then. And let me just check. How's the poll doing? I'm sorry, I'm just going to have a look at the poll. Yep, most people only votes, but most people going for Norman Jr. I'll leave it open a little bit longer, and I'll give you my prediction in just 2 minutes. Broly, I think Norman probably changed his style for this fight to showcase his technique. Are you talking about the Sasaki fight, Broly? I'm not too sure which one you're talking about. I suspect you're talking about that one, but let me know in the chat. I'll try and keep an eye out. Yeah, I think okay, sorry, I'm just getting to the next. Sorry, Corey, man. If I was Haney, I would attack whenever Norman sets his feet and use lateral movement to set up the exchange, to set up exchanges like this. I would also move into range, lay some attacks and pivot off. Yeah, I think the thing with Haney, I just think he needs to. He can't set his feet, and he can't get greedy with his punches. Otherwise, you could get countered as well with the left hook. The one thing, I know everyone's talking about Norman's left hook, and it is very powerful, and he's got brilliant timing with it, but it's not as quick as Ryan Garcia's, and I think Haney was really thrown off by the quickness of Garcia's left hook. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I just feel, in comparison, Norman's left hook's more about just the timing of it, whereas Garcia, he kind of loads up at time and throws with such speed. It's very hard to defend against. Whereas Norman can set you up. He can do it very slightly. Not that Ryan Garcia can, but I just feel like, Norman's a bit more subtle with it, I guess. You'll try and hide it behind the jab. He did that in the Cuevas fight? He's throwing the jab, and then all of a sudden he loops in the left hook out of nowhere. Makes him very unpredictable at times, especially if you, like you're saying, Corey, if he's setting his feet, there's a real opportunity for Norman to land that punch. And just a reminder, guys, if you guys are here on the stream, make sure to like it. It really helps out. If you like the video, really helps out the channel and the stream, of course. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to vote in the poll in the chat for Haney versus Norman. And if you've got any questions, feel free to put it in the chat and I will get to it. Okay. And this was the poll, 1.3k votes in the community. And I thought this was an interesting one. Most going for Norman Jr. KO, 52, over half of people are thinking Norman Jr. is going to get the KO. Then Haney by points, 36%. And then what I thought was funny was Haney and Norman Jr., both 6%. Haney KO and Norman Jr. points. To be honest with you, I think it's more likely that Norman Jr. wins on points than Haney gets the KO. I don't know what you guys think about that, but imagine if Haney got the KO. That would be wild if he actually did that. But I can't see that happening. I think if he's going to win, this is going to be a points victory, isn't it, for Haney? And I guess I should probably give you guys my prediction in terms of what I think. Like I said, after I started this conversation around this fight, I've been a big fan of Norman Jr. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I think the way he's carried himself into this fight, the press, I really like his character. And I think he's got some brilliant tools to cause Haney problems and potentially knock him out. However, saying that, I just think the jab and the footwork and the counterpunching of Devin are going to be too much for him. I just don't think, I think he's too smart a fighter to give Norman those opportunities, in my opinion, guys. And I'm leaning towards Haney points. I've been kind of going between those two options, Norman Jr. KO or Haney points, but my hunch just keeps telling me that Haney's footwork and his jab and his ring IQ is going to be too much for Norman in this fight. I think people are really discrediting Haney in terms of after that Garcia fight and also his last fight as well against Ramirez. I might be wrong. Maybe Norman. I hope, like I said, I think Norman definitely has the tools to do it this weekend. But I just feel that Haney has too much in the tank in terms of his overall boxing IQ. And I do feel like, not that it will be like something similar to the Prograis fight, but I can see him really playing a smart fight and really trying to frustrate Norman, because at the end of the day, Norman's going to have to try cut off the ring, trap him and fight him on the inside. And I just don't think Haney's going to allow him to get in those positions all too often. And we'll see what happens. I'll maybe come on and do a live on the Sunday and give you my thoughts. And I'll take it all back if I'm wrong. But I'm still looking. I don't know. This is one of the fights I'm looking forward to. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the Bam versus Martinez. But I am really looking forward to this one too. Not gonna lie. Sorry. Let me have a look at these questions, and I will end that poll. Only 11 of you guys voted, but most of you guys are going for Norman this weekend. But let me just get through these questions. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat and I will get to it. Joshua, Bam stops Puma in 6 rounds via body shot KO. Bam's competed at the higher level. Yeah, I don't know if you're here for when I was talking about that fight. Yeah, I'm feeling Bam for that as well. I think Martinez is, Bam is all wrong for Martinez. So now, yeah, like I was saying, Norman is up in the bookies at the moment. Most of them, I've still seen some are still favoring Haney, but yeah, for whatever reason, yeah, everyone's favoring Norman in this one. But I'm going Haney on points, personally. If I'm Corey, sorry, I'm just reading this one. If I'm Norman, when Haney is moving laterally, instead of hooking to the head for the first few rounds, I'm hooking to the body. Yeah, I think that's a good strategy. I think even just the body jab, keep him unsettled, lower his guard, get him used to get him used to that jab coming to the body and up top, and even throwing the feints off it as well. I think that's really important for Norman in this fight. He can't be too predictable with the left hook. He can't be like Garcia. Not that he is. I don't think Norman Jr. is like that at all. I think he's actually quite intelligent in terms of how he does set up the left hook. He disguises it well. Kind of loops it around at times, or he uses the same movement as a jab and then throws the hook instead. And I just think he needs to mix it up. He can't just rely on it too much. And maybe he's done that too often in the past. Joshua, I don't think Norman gets enough credit for his boxing ability. He gets those knockouts and the power shots through technique. Yeah. More recently, anyway, I feel like I said, in his last 2 fights, I feel he's really improved a lot. He's kind of turned into that more boxer puncher instead of being a brawler like we saw in the Santalan fight and the other ones. Because the thing is, and this is how I kind of maybe see it going. Sorry if I'm just going to get to the records again. Was it Quentin Randall? You know, Randall's more of a boxer like Haney. And Norman Jr. showed in that fight that he was able to close the range. However, saying that about Randall, Randall did kind of set his feet a little bit too much. And it kind of made, not saying it made Norman look good or made it easy for him, but you can't compare Randall and Haney, you know, in terms of their footwork. Sorry, I just had to cough there. Didn't want to do it in the mic. And I will get on to the next fight in a sec. If you just let me get through some of these questions. Norman is far more likely to win on points than a Haney KO. Yeah, I'd rather pick Norman on points than a Haney KO for sure. Imagine if that happened. Oh, Senai, yeah, like I was saying as well. I remember Haney completely shut down Prograis. It seems Norman is a better fighter, though. Yeah, I agree. I think potentially Prograis, not that he was past it, but he was kind of coming to the end, wasn't he? It was of his form anyway, going into that, and he kind of got found out. Okay, we'll move on to the next fight. And it is, of course, Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. Another really interesting fight. I feel you look at the two guys' records going into it, and obviously Anthony Yarde has faced two top elite light heavyweights. He obviously fought Beterbiev, and then he fought Kovalev before that, and lost to them both. And the thing about those fights, which I find really interesting, is that he totally upped his performance level. You know, he rose to their level. And then after those fights, he just seems to go back down a level. Like the matchmaking to just put him down a level once again. Obviously, he beat Lyndon Arthur. He beat him twice, I believe, after the Kovalev fight. Obviously, most recently, and then before the Beterbiev fight. And he just seems to drop in level, and the matchmaking has just been awful for him. You know, you'd think after the Beterbiev fight or even the Kovalev fight, they would have just kept him going in terms of better opposition. And then obviously, like, there's the conversations and different. The other thing, you know, like, there was Buatsi, Callum Smith. You know, there was all these opportunities to have those fights, and he just didn't seem to take them. Obviously, the situation in boxing was a bit different back then. You know, different promoters were. I can't really remember. Riyadh season were fully in at that point. The Saudis, I don't think they were. So it's difficult to make those fights. But, you know, you look at, you know, three of those names in his last five, I never heard of them in my life. Whereas you look at Benavidez, David Lemieux, obviously former middleweight champion, Caleb Plant, former super middleweight champion, very highly rated by many, Andrade, former middleweight champion, Gosdick, former light heavyweight champ, and then David Morrell. You know, he's one of the, you know, better guys at light heavyweight, and even when he was at super middleweight. And that speaks volumes to me going into this. But knowing Anthony Yarde, he's going to give it his all, isn't he? I can definitely see him, you know, trying to make this a hard one for Benavidez in the early rounds and giving it a go. But Benavidez, for me, I don't know what you guys think, but I just think he just needs to take his time in the early rounds, kind of work out what Yarde's going to try and throw, and then land his power shots. That's what he tends to do. He breaks you down in the early rounds with single power shots, closes the range, gets his distance ready, and then from about maybe like round 4, the mid rounds, that's when he really starts to step up his combination punching, backs you up. And the thing is, I just don't know how Anthony Yarde's going to handle that. You guys let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear. I'll also do another poll for this. Love to hear your thoughts on this one. Because I think this is going to be a hard night for Anthony Yarde. It's either going to be a very short one or a long one for him. I'll just put it in the chat, the poll. Okay, it's in the should be in the chat now. Let me know who you guys have. I think I know how this one's going to go down. Corey, I think Benavidez is going to get hurt early but dominate after. The thing is, like, Morrell was able to catch him with nice counter punches as he was coming in. And the issue with Benavidez at times, you know, he squares up coming in. He throws that. He likes to throw that right hand, that lead right hand, and it really opens him up for left hooks or counter right hooks. You know, and I think the fact Morrell was a southpaw, he was able to land that right hook over the top and catch him out, or the power jab as well. Whereas Anthony Yarde, I'm intrigued. Obviously, I was looking at the Caleb Plant fight again because he actually had some good early success against Benavidez. Obviously, Caleb, what he did really well in those opening rounds was he went to the body, and then he also threw in combination. And even Demetrius Andrade did the same. If you throw in combination against Benavidez, he usually shells up and goes into that. He really tightens his guard, takes the shots, and it forces him to reset. Now, the issue with that is, because he does have quite a good dynamic high guard, he blocks a lot of these punches, stops them getting through, and it takes a lot out of you, especially if none of those punches are making a difference. Whereas Anthony Yarde isn't so much a combination puncher. He's more of a counter puncher, likes to land that one big shot, the check left hook in particular, or the overhand right. And who knows, maybe Anthony, he might just decide, fuck it, and just decide to go for it on Saturday and just throw a big haymaker early as Benavidez comes in. And the thing is, people are talking about the size of Anthony Yarde, but David Morrell and Gvozdyk, they are big boys as well. They are big light heavyweights. David Benavidez is a big light heavyweight. I don't think he'll be at light heavyweight for much longer, if I'm being honest. I think give him 2 years, he'll be up at cruiserweight. In my opinion, anyway. I don't know what you guys think about that, but what's the nice saying? Benavidez round 10 KO. Yeah, I think Anthony Yarde's shown he can, the better Beterbiev fight, even the Kovalev fight, he can get through these early rounds. But it's kind of when it goes on late in the fight, can he survive? Corey, I think it's going to be a long night for Yarde. Yep. So do I. I think he'll make it competitive early, but then Benavidez, typical fashion, like he does with everyone, he eventually just wears you down, closes the distance, starts unloading his combinations, and I just don't think Yarde's built for that, to be honest, stylistically as well. Slayomi, I believe that's how you say your name. I think it goes the distance. David isn't a KO puncher at 175. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm not too. Yeah, it's like the thing is, he's fought two top guys, Gvozdyk and Morrell. They're two top light heavyweights. Is he expected to knock those guys out really easily? I don't think necessarily. I really don't. I think those are good wins in their own right. Getting a unanimous decision in both those fights is very good. In fact, going into the Morrell fight, I picked David Morrell. I'll be honest. I really thought David Morrell was going to be really tricky for Benavidez, and I thought Morrell's counterpunching was going to be a problem. But if you guys watched that fight, you saw what David Morrell did. He just shelled up and was on the back foot most of that fight. He only came on a couple of the rounds, really. Tried to put it on Benavidez. And it was Benavidez that made those fights. He kept coming forward. He was peeling the guard down, landing hooks around the side, going to the body, throwing combinations. And I think, although he's not a proven KO puncher at light heavyweight, those are two top guys. When you fight the top opposition, it's hard to get the knockout. Saying that, would you count Anthony Yarde as a top light heavyweight right now? I'm not too sure. Because if I'm just going to get our box rec quickly. Just give me 1 sec. And I will just get up the light heavyweight division. I think I might change the music, just give us a little bit of a different vibe. But yeah, keep your questions in the chat. I will get to them. Feel free to put it in there. And like the video as well. It really helps out the channel and the stream as well. Okay. This always happens with BoxRec whenever I open it up. It seems to like destroy my computer. do any of you guys have that problem when you go on BoxRec? Honestly, like every time I go on it, it like kills my computer for whatever reason. I can feel it heating. I can feel the heat radiating off it sometimes. Okay, light heavyweight. Ratings. For whatever reason, BoxRec for me is just dying. So I'm going to go to Box. I don't know if you guys know the website Box Live. Shout out to Box Live. I really like their rankings, the way they set it up there. I'll get it up there. Okay, got it up now. I'll just share my screen. God, that was a hard one to do. Finally, sorry about that, guys. Jeez. It was I blame BoxRec. Yeah, absolutely. My whole computer just slowed down there for whatever reason. But yeah, sorry. Back to my point. You look at like the top light heavyweights at the moment. Obviously, we've got Dmitry Bivol, Beterbiev, and then of course Benavidez. And then after that, Callum Smith, Yarde, Ramirez, Morel, Katiev, Buatsi, Willie Hutchinson, Gvozdyk. Those are the current ring rankings as of the 18th of November. So I guess maybe you after Buatsi's, I don't know if you guys watched Buatsi's fight, like very poor. I think you have to put Yarde a bit higher now, don't you? Regardless, because I always rated Buatsi over Yarde, but now I'm second guessing that, if I'm being honest. I even think, Katiev, Morel and Katiev also had that tremendous fight, and Katiev looked tremendous. Really, he looks like a really dangerous fighter, doesn't he? And I think he could give a tough night for any of these guys at light heavyweight, even Benavidez. I've not seen much of Ramirez, if I'm being honest. And Callum Smith, we saw that fight with Buatsi. He gave it everything. So maybe, I guess maybe you could say Yarde is maybe top 7 anyway. I personally would put Morel over Anthony Yarde, in my opinion. And going off that Katiev fight with Morel, I'd maybe even put Katiev above him. But I think the thing with Katiev, we need to see him in with better guys. That's the only thing. But yeah, I like, hopefully Benavidez gets a fight with Bivol or Beterbiev. I think stylistically, the Beterbiev fight would be really a really fun fight. That's what I want to see. Even if that fight doesn't happen next, maybe even Callum Smith. I'd like to see that. Callum Smith comes to fight. But the issue with Callum Smith, he's got obviously his left hook is deadly, but man, I just can't see him beating Benavidez. I think he plants his feet too much, goes into that high guard, and I think Benavidez would just plow him with combinations for round after round anyway. I don't know what you guys think, but anyways, back to this. And how are we getting on with the poll? Let me just have a look. How are we getting on with the poll? 14 votes. Yeah, most going for Benavidez at the moment, as expected. I hate I hate how BoxRec always asks me to log in. Yeah, man, I hate it. It's so frustrating. I think it's the amount of ads they show on it. I don't know if it's the. I think it's the ads that they show. It just seems to like crash my computer. It slows everything down. Okay, I'm gonna get to these questions now. Sorry, I was we went off tour looking at the rankings for light heavyweight, and then obviously I will answer your question. I'll probably stay another. We've been on for about an hour now, which is great. I'll stay on for maybe like another 20, 30 minutes. So get in your questions. And if you're enjoying, make sure to like the stream as well. It really helps out. And if you guys are going to buy the pay-per-view this weekend, I've left the link in the description. And I believe you can get it as part of the DAZN Ultimate Bundle as well. If I just get it up quickly to show you guys. I swear to God, BoxRec has just killed my computer, but yeah. It's part of the Ultimate Bundle, as you guys can see. The ultimate plan on DAZN, yeah, that's what it is. And you get 12 pay-per-views per year with it. And you're saving a whole lot of money. Now, obviously, we do need to see what the pay-per-view, hopefully they deliver. That's the thing. And personally, I think it's a good investment if you're a boxing fan anyway, because, you know, the amount of fights that are happening on DAZN anyway, I'd rather save some money with that plan than constantly forking out pay-per-views all the time. At least you get guaranteed 12 per year. But anyways, sorry. I will get to these questions now. Joshua, Puma tried so hard to intimidate Bam all fight week. He's about to, yeah. I think Benavidez is going to get hurt early, but did I not? Yeah, sorry, Corey. I think I read that one. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where I was in the comments. Oh, okay, I know where I am now. AWM Boxing. Jamie, love the content, bro. Great boxing mind. Appreciate the breakdowns, champ. Thank you, man. That means a lot. Really does. And I'm trying to get this. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I was trying to get the layout right there. No, I appreciate that, man. It means a lot. I just really appreciate the support from everyone. It means a lot to me, you know. How we've grown the channel, it really means a lot. It's not just been me, it's you guys as well, supporting over the years. It's kept me going, or else I would have given up a long time ago. But I do try to give you guys good quality content, and I'm trying to do more lives like this. And I said this earlier in the stream. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to try do it maybe once a week going forward into the new year. Maybe every Thursday, do the boxing live show. I don't know what you guys think about that. You can let me know. Do you guys want me to do more lives, or should I just stick to my other content? What are you saying, man? He's going to stop Yarde, no doubt about it. Yep, I'm feeling like that too. Puma getting stopped. It's way harder to get knockouts than people ever can know, unless you've been in there with guys that have trained to not be knocked out their entire life at the very hard. It's very hard to do. Yeah, like, not saying that I've ever been at that level, but like, obviously I've sparred like professionals before, and who are just were another level to me, and it always amazed me by like how like you could throw as many punches as you wanted, but they just knew how to handle certain situations a lot better than you. And I can't even imagine at an even higher level. Exactly, it's like unless they're kind of willing to open up, or they've gotten a very like aggressive style, it's very hard. Corey, I don't see how Yarde doesn't get stopped here. Yeah. Can never say that your name, man. Slum. I'm just going to call you Sla, okay? Sla. Slalomi. Is that how you say it? David's fast combos and gas tank is trouble at 175. Still think Bivol and Arthur at 80% beats him. Interesting. See, I think I do think actually Bivol would have a better chance, if I'm being honest. I think out of the two of them, I think Bivol is such an intelligent fighter. I think he can box you for the 12 rounds. Behind that jab, his combinations as well. Whereas Arthur Beterbiev, he needs to come forward. And maybe that doesn't play into Benavidez' hands that well. I don't know. But Corey, I think Morel and Katiev beat Yarde. Yeah. Personally, yeah, I would pick Morel over Yarde. Katiev, I need to see more of him. Corey, if I'm being honest. But I did like the look of him in that fight. He looked good. And if you guys haven't already seen it, you can check out my tactical overview for Benavidez versus Yarde. Go into all the tactics, strategies from both guys, potentially, what they could use in this fight at the weekend. And this was the poll I did. I can't actually remember how many people voted. It was about, I think it was over 1,000 people voted. Sorry, now I want to find out how many votes were in this poll. Just give me one sec. But as you can see, most going for Benavidez by KO. But quite a lot going for points. More people feel a Benavidez points win than a Yarde KO. But that's to be expected. I think a lot of people are expecting Benavidez to get the win, aren't they? Okay, how many votes did we get for that? 2.4K. So 2.4K votes on that poll, which you're seeing on screen. And yeah, I think that, that's quite a lot of people voted. And I'm surprised more people didn't vote points, if I'm being honest. But I think maybe people as well are basing that a lot on Yarde's recent form. He hasn't looked that good. So maybe that's why people are going for the Benavidez KO. And then let's just have a quick look at the poll itself on here. And I'm going to end the poll now. It's been on for 20 minutes. And 19 votes. Yeah, 95% people think Benavidez is going to win this weekend. I've had a couple of people message me saying Yarde. Which is interesting. But I'm struggling to see how he wins this fight. There's always the possibility he just catches him with a big one if Benavidez just gets a little bit too greedy. But I think people downplay Benavidez's overall skill set a lot. They really put it down. I think he's got really good ring IQ himself in terms of closing the range and setting up his combinations and picking you apart. Uh, Callum would be beaten badly by David. He shells up and puts his back on the ropes for that counter left hook. Yeah, Callum Smith, like he's always done that, hasn't he? Just shells up, and it's just it's very negative style as well. Like obviously when he gets the knockout and it works out in his favor, it's brilliant. But I've never been a big fan of Callum Smith in terms of his style. Obviously he's had some good fights over the years, but obviously that Buatsi fight being one of them. But yeah, he's never been a fighter I've been excited to watch, because I know what he's like. He just kind of sticks to that high guard and he waits to land that left hook on you. But yeah, we covered all the fights. I'll just go quickly through them all just to show you what most people are thinking. We started with Sam Noakes versus Abdullah Mason, and most are going for the Mason KO. And that's how I feel as well. I think Mason's going to get the job done. I think he's a sharpshooter for sure. And if you guys are here early in the stream, I did say I had a breakdown for this. I was trying to get this out for today, but I was trying to rush to get it done, and I didn't want to put out something that was shit, basically. So I'm going to try and maybe get it done in the morning tomorrow and get it out, because I really like this kid. I think he's going to be an exciting one to watch going forward. I really like the look of him. So talented. And unfortunately for Sam Noakes, who I actually really rate as well, I think he's a good fighter, but I just think this is just not the right style matchup. I think Mason will probably get the KO, in my opinion. As much as I like Noakes, I want to see him do well. I just don't see him getting the win there. And then we've got Bam versus Martinez. And if you guys are here for that segment, I just cannot see how Martinez really wins this fight unless he lands something big early. I think he's just not made right for Bam. You know, his style, he just throws these wide-looking shots constantly. He needs to be in the front foot. You can't box going backwards. I think the angles and the footwork of Bam are just going to be a total nightmare for him. So yeah, I have to go with Bam in this one, as I'm sure most of you guys are as well. Shout out to Corey, man. Yeah, I think I will do more lives. I think. How does a Thursday night? Is a Thursday night a good night to do lives on YouTube? Personally, I think I'm just thinking about my schedule as well. Friday's usually not the best day for me, but definitely I'm thinking Thursday. And then it means I can kind of like, if there's been any boxing news, or I can talk about fights from the previous weekend and stuff. I don't know, or I can maybe do two, but I just don't think I have the time for that personally. But I think maybe once a week. We'll see how we get on. But I'm thinking the Thursday. Make Thursday a dedicated day. And I'll probably try and make it around this time. It's 8 p.m. in the UK, or 9 p.m. now. Is Tuesday good? Potentially, yeah. Yeah, I could maybe do a Tuesday. Tuesday actually might be a good day as well. Because I guess it means it's close to the previous weekend where I can talk about fights. And then obviously it has the upcoming stuff, but sometimes I like doing stuff closer to the fight week, or the fight weekend, depending on the event. But yeah, we'll see. I'll maybe test it out and see how people are feeling. I'll maybe do a poll on the community page and see what people are thinking. Because I know like a lot of people don't come to me for my lives. It's obviously about my other content, but I want to engage with you guys a lot more and get to know you. And Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. I think most are excited about this one. And real 50-50 in a lot of people's eyes. And if I get the poll up, obviously most people, I was actually surprised with this. I don't know if it's whether because people don't like Haney or they actually believe Norman's going to win this way. But most going for, over half of people are going for Norman Jr. by KO. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but I have to go Haney by points, in my opinion. I think his jab, his footwork, his counter-punching are going to be the difference in this one. And I think the fact that Norman needs to be setting his feet. He's going to have to close the range. He's going to have to cut off the ring. It's not necessarily the best part of his style, in my opinion. And I just think for that reason, I think Haney is just not going to give him the opportunities. And I feel like Haney will have learned from the Garcia and the Ramirez fight. However, saying all that, what I've just said, and saying that I do think Haney could do that, maybe he is still shelled up from that Ryan Garcia fight for all we know. But man, like that kid showed heart. He got up every time he got knocked down. But there's always the potential that it's truly affected him, especially if Norman Jr. is able to crack him with something early. But personally, my hunch is just saying Devin Haney. As much as I'd quite like Norman Jr. to do it, I really like his character. I've liked the way he's carried himself. I've obviously said that throughout the stream, but I can't get this niggling thing out of my head that Haney's going to do it by points. Yeah, I think Haney decisions Norman. His footwork will give Norman, yeah, it'll give him trouble for sure, his footwork. And then we've got the final fight, main event, Benavidez versus Yarde, and I'm with the majority here, but I'm kind of leaning more towards Benavidez late KO, if I'm being honest. Probably from round, I can probably see kind of round 7 onwards, somewhere around that point. I'm kind of feeling. I'm really struggling to see how Yarde gets the victory. But saying that, Yarde tends to up his performance when he faces better guys. So it should be an interesting one, guys. I'm really excited for this weekend. And if you guys are going to watch, make sure to use my link in the description, or it's the pinned comment in the chat. You can use it there to sign up, and it helps to support the channel. And I truly appreciate it if you use the link. And if you guys have any last questions, feel free to put it in and I will get to them. And I think we'll be closing up shop soon. So yeah, get your questions in. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to like the stream. It really helps out as well. Crazy how time flies. I remember Yarde used to be touted as the young guy. Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy thinking. Like, I remember watching like the young. I obviously did that documentary on Eubank Jr. recently on the channel, and I remember watching some of those early fights on Channel 5 and stuff like that when he was like 21 years old, and now he's like in his late 30s. I think. How old is Eubank now? Is he 36, 37? So he's a few years older than me, but I remember watching him, and it's, yeah, now he's the old guy. I'm like, what the fuck? Even like watching Canelo. I remember watching when he was younger as well. When he fought Mayweather, like, how old was he when he fought Mayweather? Like 23. I remember watching that. I'm the same age as Canelo, so it's weird. Like, obviously, I've grown up as he's progressed in his career. What are you saying, Corey? Benavidez Yarde shouldn't be the main event, in my opinion. For me, it's the least interesting fight on the main card. Yeah, like, I think the worry around for example, if Haney versus Norman Jr. was the main event, and if it was over in America, I'm sure it would be, but I think the issue with it let's be honest, it's mainly Devin Haney. He is the issue, isn't he? He's the guy that tends to run, doesn't he? He uses footwork, tends to box, and it could turn into a very boring fight potentially. Unfortunately, Bam and Martinez as well. That would be a main event over in the US as well. But because they're the little guys, no one's interested, or it's a very niche audience, if we're being honest. Outside of boxing fans, they want to see the bigger guys. And Benavidez, to be fair to him, he does come to fight. He always makes it a difficult night for anyone. And he is quite a big name. And maybe this is part of Turkey's plan to set up some big fights with Bivol and Beterbiev, potentially. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, if you guys have got any last questions, put it in and I will be happy to answer it. If not, I will probably be heading off. Actually, there was one more thing I actually completely forgot. I will touch on it if I just get it back up. You guys are going to love me for this one. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. I just don't. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. Obviously, I'm not a fan of it. All right, see you, Corey, man. I appreciate the support and all the questions tonight, man. And like I said, I might try and do these a lot more often. So hopefully we'll see you on here more often. But yeah, I just want to give you my last thoughts on this. I don't know if you guys saw the way, sorry, not the way in the face off. It was just ridiculous. And I think fair play to Joshua. He's getting a huge payday for this. I don't blame the guy. Anyone would. The amount of money. It's not like 40 or 50 million he's getting for this fight. Oh, sorry, Corey. I'm still here. I'm going to stay just a little bit longer. Just thought I'd talk about this one. If AG doesn't KO him in 3 rounds or less, shame on him. Yeah, I think he needs to KO him, get the knockout by at least the second round. Get some airtime in the first round. Check him out. A bit like the Ngannou fight. I'm wondering what Jake Paul's going to do. Honestly, you think about it. Is he going to try and box him? Does he actually think he can box him? Or is he going to just try and throw haymakers and try and land the big one early? Or is he going to try counterpunch Anthony Joshua coming in, trying to land something of his own? Sorry. Couldn't speak there. But yeah, I think he needs to just get him out as soon as possible. When the opportunity presents itself, take him out. Personally, I think it's a really dangerous fight, actually. You saw what Joshua did to Ngannou. Who's to say he won't do that to Jake Paul, or even worse? Ryan just stumbled on this. Love the channel. Looking forward to hoping for future lives more often. Cheers. Also, I don't trust this fight. I have a feeling it's a fake fight. Who knows by this point? Ryan, I do think it's a legit fight. It's just how seriously both guys take it. I'd be disappointed if Joshua goes in and just starts taking his time and is trying to have too much fun with it rather than just looking to fucking knock him out straight away. That's one I want to see. Corey, I'm really worried for Jake Paul in this. Yeah, I don't feel good for him, man. Don't feel good. I think Joshua should, like I said, take him out second or third round, as people are saying. Yeah, shout out Ryan, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, so do I, man. We'll see. Did you see Canelo now says he wants the Bud rematch? The fact he took so long says volumes. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I really hope it doesn't happen. Like, I think we all knew there was a rematch clause in there. Maybe Canelo's liking the payday from Netflix, potentially. That's a possibility. He wants to get another huge payday from Netflix. Would it sell? Of course it would sell. I think there'd be all the questions around if Canelo could adapt, change his game plan, but I just don't see it happening. I think the rematch could happen, but I mean, like, I just can't see how Crawford wins. Feed me more open stream link so I can join. What do you mean by that? The stream should be open right now. Don't know what that's about. And yeah, guys, sorry, go back. If you guys are watching this weekend, I'll stay till we get 5 more minutes. So get your last questions in and I will answer them. And like I said, if you guys are watching this weekend, you can use my link in the description. Really helps out the channel. Corey, do you mean you can't see how Canelo wins? No, I can see how he wins, but I just don't think he's going to win. And I'm someone who picked Canelo to beat Crawford in the first fight, and obviously the first fight. So I just can't really see how he adapts and changes and is able to close the distance. I think Crawford just needs a very similar game plan. I can't see how Canelo changes it up that much, unless he's willing to take more risks. But that gives Crawford more opportunities, in my opinion. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I meant Canelo. Sorry, slip of the tongue, man. My apologies. Send the live pan. No, so dude, we're not doing that tonight, and I'm only staying for another 4 minutes. So if you've got any questions, put it in the chat, and I'll answer it. And but yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend. I think it should be a really good one. I feel like I'm getting trolled here. David hasn't knocked out anyone at light heavyweight. I know, but he fought 2 top guys at light heavyweight. And he's only had 2 fights at light heavyweight. So what are you expecting him to do? No one's knocked out David Morrell yet. So you're making it sound like he's like a tomato can when he's not. Corey, it's all good. I thought as long as Crawford could deal with the power, it would be an easy night for him. Yeah, and it ended up being that. Yeah, ended up being that way. Which fight are you most interested in? Which one will steal the show? It's an interesting one. I think if I had to pick, potentially Bam versus Martinez. I think the fact Martinez is going to be so aggressive, and I think we're going to see the best of Bam as well, use his angles and try to set up counter punches. But then at the same time, you're going to see Fernando Martinez just basically not giving up. He's going to keep coming forward, and I think that it could be a real interesting fight. But I still favor Bam. I think Bam will get the win. But it'll be interesting if, like, let's say Martinez is able to catch Bam with something as he's coming in or something. And then obviously I think I'm most intrigued to see what happens with Norman Jr. versus Haney. Probably. But I don't necessarily think it's the best fight. You know, there's the potential Noakes versus Mason could be fight of the night. Two young, hungry guys. But I favor Mason by knockout in that. He's not going to knock out Yarde. We'll see. We'll see. I'm favoring Benavidez knockout in the late rounds, personally. If not, a pretty solid points win. Okay, I'll stay one more minute, guys. I'll just add this is my last question. So, was sad by Morrell's performance. I've seen him live 6 times now, once in Vegas and 5 in Minneapolis. Hope he gets back on track. Last outing was really tough. Yeah, I think he just underestimated the guy, Katiev. I don't know if you're here earlier, Ryan. We were looking at the light heavyweight division, and yeah, like Katiev, I think he's a very underrated guy. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think he would give like Yarde a tough night, even Benavidez, if I'm being honest. So, but yeah, guys, we'll leave it at that. If you guys are watching this weekend, make sure to use my link in the description or the pinned comment in the chat, and you can watch the full Ring 4 card on there, and it really helps support the channel as well. And I appreciate all the questions tonight. It means a lot. And like I said, I'm going to try to do more lives going forward. I just need to pick a day. I want to pick like a dedicated day, maybe on like a Thursday. I think Corey in the chat, he recommended a Tuesday. So we'll see. I don't know. I might test it out. I might do a poll as well and see what you guys think. But no, I appreciate all you guys coming on tonight, asking your questions. It was good engaging with you. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the fights this weekend. And I might be back with a live on the Sunday, giving you my reaction. And yeah, no, I appreciate it. All right. As always, guys, Jamie from Boxing Life, and I'll see you in the next one.